3 years ago, I reviewed the SimLab GT1 Evo. Constructed from the Dutch brand's signature high-quality aluminium profile and pieced together using simple corner brackets, it's been my primary rig for some time. It remains SimLab's entry-level cockpit, and I'd still recommend it to any sim racer looking for their first aluminium profile rig. However, with the growing interest in sim racing as a sustainable motorsport and subsequent advancement of sim racing hardware, SimLab has recently launched an evolution of the Evo, the GT1 Pro. Like its little brother, the SimLab GT1 Pro is constructed primarily for mid-weight 4080 profile measuring 40 by 80mm, with 4 pieces of 4040 profile which, you guessed it, measures 40 by 40mm for the seat rails and pedal deck. It's the perfect profile choice for this rig, providing the ideal balance between structural strength, size and weight. In fact, with a light bucket seat attached, the GT1 Pro still weighs less than 50 kilograms and retains a similarly small footprint of just 135 by 68 centimeters. However, taking inspiration from Next Level Racing's Elite range, SimLab has swapped out the cumbersome corner brackets in favour of bespoke alloy plates. These position the uprights at an acute angle to the base profile, which is pre-machined so that it simply bolts together directly. Aside from looking a lot cleaner, this increases the rig's overall rigidity to further reduce flex. Aimed at the mid-level market, the GT1 Pro currently retails for €599 without shipping. That's roughly £520 in the UK or $650 in the US. While that price doesn't include extras like seat brackets and a shifter mounting plate, the GT1 Pro outperforms other cockpits in its class. SimLab utilises higher grade aluminium profile than that employed by Next Level Racing, and while track racers' offerings are built with beefy metal bars, they still rely on off-the-shelf corner brackets to join them together. Aside from the performance boost, the GT1 Pro has also received a few aesthetic upgrades. The pre-installed SimLab decals pop against the sleek anodized black coating and complement the laser-cut logo on the pedal deck. The plastic profile end caps feel more refined than those used on the GT1 Evo, while the aggressive shear angle of the uprights adds a sense of flow to the completed cockpit. On that note, the assembly process is quite involved, so you'll need to set aside a full day or a couple of afternoons to assemble the rig, mount your equipment and fine-tune your driving position. Compared to other aluminium profile rigs I've tested, the anodization is amongst the toughest finishes I've seen. The 2 primary pieces, along with the seat rails, are even internally coated for additional protection. Despite being highly scratch resistant though, it's worth taking extra care during the build to minimise any scuffs and scrapes. With that said, SimLab packages all the pieces really well in several boxes, so it should arrive to you in pristine condition. If you've never worked with aluminium profile before, it's a bit like a giant Meccano set. You simply follow a repetitive process to secure each piece together, though you'll need to use a tape measure to line up the uprights correctly. As the GT1 Pro begins to take shape, it becomes more apparent how structurally strong the cockpit really is. Testing this in true adapt style, the 2 uprights easily support my full body weight, with the brackets providing a rock-solid connection to the base profile. It is possible to complete the build solo as I did, however I'd recommend that you get a helping hand if you can. There are some tricky angles to work with and a few occasions where you need to awkwardly hold pieces in place. The paperless instruction manual can be downloaded from the SimLab website, and I'll leave a link to the PDF file in my article and video description below. Reducing paper waste is always good in my book, but no doubt having a physical copy would have been more convenient. My advice is to view the schematics on the tablet if you have one, since the larger screen improves the clarity of smaller details. In any case, the included hardware is subdivided and labelled, making various nuts and bolts easy enough to identify. Every piece down to the included M8 washers is nicely finished in black to colour match the aluminium profile. I didn't receive any M6 bolts or washers in the primary kit, though there were a few included with the additional shifter and handbrake bracket. Luckily, I had a few spares to mount my Fanatec CSL DD, and my Club Sport V3 pedal set accepts the larger M8 bolts. You also get an ample supply of spare roll-in T-nuts, which is appreciated when attaching third-party accessories to the rig. Unlike with 4-width T-nuts, you can simply slot these into any position along the profile channels. Each T-nut is spring-loaded to help hold it in place, so you can customise your cockpit without needing to dismantle parts first. As with most other aluminium profile cockpits, the SimLab GT1 Pro doesn't come with a seat as standard, leaving it up to the buyer's personal preference. And thanks to the rig's flexibility, you can mount pretty much any type of car seat you want. If you live in Europe though, SimLab offers a range of sport and bucket seats for you to choose from, including the sim racing specific SimLab Speed 1. For a detailed overview of this seat, check out my review of the SimLab GT1 Evo. However, in summary, the Speed 1 is an easy recommendation for any virtual racer in search of a high quality sim seat at an affordable price. Constructed from a one-piece fiberglass shell and finished with an abrasion-resistant velour, the tight padding provides plenty of support for use with a motion system. While not FIA approved, the Speed 1 is built to the same design specification as race-ready bucket seats. It's sized for sim racers of average build, but SimLab also offers an extra large version for those seeking a roomier rig. Due to the one-piece design, there's no recline adjustment in the seat itself. However, the entire seat can be reclined back as one unit using compatible side mount seat brackets. SimLab supplies a standard set for around €40. That's about £35 in the UK or $45 in the US. These provide a maximum tilt adjustment of 15 degrees, which I find provides a realistic and comfortable GT driving position. Combining this with the Sparco seat slider, also available directly from SimLab, makes it easy to adjust the seating position on the fly. This is ideal when swapping out drivers during a 24-hour endurance event, for example. However, if you're a solo simmer like me, then bolting the seat brackets directly to the seat rails saves a lot of faff. I find there's ample clearance to get in and out of the cockpit without needing to remove my wheel. And if you're around average height, you should be able to set up the GT1 Pro with your seat in the most forward position possible. This keeps the entire rig nice and compact for those of us with limited space. While the GT1 Evo is a very robust rig in its own right, and perfectly capable of taming direct drive wheelbases, the overhanging wheel mount is a weak point. You won't notice any flex when running a belt or gear driven wheel, but highly sensitive drivers may feel the odd twitch or two when pushing force feedback settings higher. Conversely, the upgraded wheel deck of the GT1 Pro is a completely different beast. The chunky 7mm thick aluminium wheel plate straddles the two 78cm uprights and locks in place with 3 M8 bolts on either side. This arrangement allows for maximum adjustability without sacrificing rigidity. You can tailor the tilt angle through a huge 70-degree range and fine-tune your wheel position forward and back by 1.5cm. You can also raise the wheel plate to a maximum height of 75cm as measured from the floor, allowing ample leg clearance for a wide range of users and driving positions. If you still need a little extra height to line up your wheel with a desk or freestanding monitor mount, the included shock-absorbing feet lift the entire cockpit by a few centimeters. However, I chose not to do this because the rig slides reasonably well on carpet without them, and this enables me to move it to the corner of my room when not in use. Folded for extra strength, the wheel plate is pre-drilled to fit most Thrustmaster, Logitech and Fanatec wheels, with enough spare space to clamp additional accessories and peripherals. The GT1 Pro also comes with a set of front and side mount brackets for servo-driven direct drive wheelbases. With my Fanatec CSL-DD boosted to 8Nm and mounted with 4 bolts, I found the entire wheel mount to be impressively strong and stable. I didn't notice any flex while driving, even when aggressively correcting oversteer. Perhaps more impressively though, was the fact that nuanced force feedback characteristics felt crystal clear, passing through the wheel without being attenuated. This is in part due to the additional reinforcement provided by the side mount support bar. It acts as an extra brace with the side mount arm installed to either the left or right wheel mount upright. Reaching out 56cm, this is much longer than the shifter arm included with the GT1 Evo, giving you plenty of real estate to work with. You will, however, need to figure out a mounting solution for your handbrake and shifter of choice. Some higher-end models already come with mounting hardware for aluminium profile, but SimLab also supplies a generic shifter and handbrake mount for €20. That's about £18 in the UK or $22 in the US. This is a substantial 6mm thick piece of carbon steel that slots onto the side mount arm via a custom bracket. It can be raised and lowered by a few centimeters for fine-tune adjustments, and is secured in place with 4 bolts to ensure flex-free shifting. The mounting plate itself is pre-drilled to fit most shifter and handbrake models on the market, with ample space to fit one of each peripheral. To maximise compatibility, it can be installed in an inline, diagonal or horizontal orientation, and moved forward or back by about 37cm along the side mount arm. It pairs perfectly with the Fanatec Club Sport shifter due to the latter's versatile attachment options. However, finding the optimum configuration for my Thrustmaster TH8A was a bit trickier. In the end, I opted to horizontally mount the TH8A with just 2 bolts in order to fix it in a comfortable gear changing position. However, attaching the shifter directly on top of the side mount arm would have resulted in a more realistic GT driving setup. This could certainly be achieved with a bit of ingenuity, but it's something to bear in mind if you're also planning to use this particular gear stick. In any case, I soon got used to the shifter's location, so it wasn't a big deal. The stick was still within easy reach and I could confidently paddle through the gears without the shifter slipping. Of course, when you're not in sequential mode and instead operating an H pattern to shift between digital cogs in a virtual gearbox, you'll most likely be dancing around the pedals to synchronously engage the clutch. And at times when you are performing these heel and toe maneuvers and other quick footwork, the pedal deck of the SimLab GT1 Pro doesn't disappoint. The pedal plate is more refined than the big block of carbon steel used on the GT1 Evo. Having trimmed unnecessary bulk, installation and making adjustments is easier. However, reassuredly, it's still the heaviest single component of the entire cockpit, and since some of the load is now absorbed by the 2 aluminium arms, the pedal deck is more than strong enough to support the heaviest of hydraulic pedals with off-the-scale brake forces. Thanks to the pre-drilled mounting pattern, centrally fixing my Fanatec Club Sport V3 pedal set with 4 bolts was a breeze. The slots through which the pedal plate attaches to the pedal deck arms also enabled me to fine-tune my pedal position by 11cm. In addition, for shorter sim racers, the entire pedal deck can be pulled back independently of the wheel mount uprights, a very useful design feature lacking in the Next Level Racing FGT Elite. Compared to the GT1 Evo, the 25cm pedal deck uprights further facilitate greater flexibility. Constructed from 5mm thick carbon steel, like the pedal deck, the slot pattern enables easy access to bolts for on-the-fly adjustments. Aside from being able to raise the height of the entire pedal deck, you can also adjust the tilt angle up to 35 degrees. In fact, this range can be extended by positioning the uprights further back. So, in theory, by pairing the rig with SimLab's SF1 seat, you could probably obtain a reasonably realistic formula driving position. For those seeking a standalone setup, SimLab offers an integrated monitor mount. The single screen version, which I tested, keeps the cockpit clean and compact, pairing perfectly with an ultra-wide or one of the latest generation 49-inch super ultra-wides. However, it can also be upgraded to support triple monitors. In either case, the monitor mount frame is constructed from lengths of 40/40 profile secured together with corner brackets. It connects to the wheel mount uprights via custom aluminium plates, which support a wide adjustment range to optimally position your monitor. The branded cap washers tie in nicely with the logo detailing found throughout the rest of the cockpit. However, it's the Vario VESHZA adapter that really impresses. Supporting VESHZA patterns 75x75 and 100x100mm, SimLab's proprietary Vario mechanism simplifies the process of making fine-tuned tweaks. The system works via 2 pairs of standoffs adjusted with the simple turn of a hex key. A 4mm is included for the primary pair, however you'll need to grab a 2.5mm from your toolkit to adjust the other. Regardless, the adapter enables you to dial in the height of your monitor by 32mm, the horizontal position by plus and minus 10mm, and the rotation angle in 2 planes by 5 degrees in either direction. These numbers may sound small on paper, but trust me, they make all the difference when dialing in a realistic field of view. Even though the integrated monitor mount adds a little extra load to the cockpit compared to a freestanding solution, I found that it performed flawlessly with my setup, securely holding my 34-inch Acer X34 in place. Inevitably, certain high-frequency vibrations, such as those generated when cutting curbs, pass from the wheel to the monitor. However, if anything, I found that this just adds to the realism and feels much the same as looking out of my car windscreen. In fact, after a few laps, I forgot that I was sim racing and became fully immersed on the virtual racetrack. This is a testament to the build quality and adaptability of the SimLab GT1 Pro. Not every sim racing rig replicates a real cockpit this well. While the aesthetic upgrades are welcome, it's the structural improvements that really make this rig something special. By combining SimLab's signature high-grade aluminium profile and the contemporary construction of more modern cockpit design, the GT1 Pro punches above its weight. Not only is it a standout contender within the mid-range market, but it also holds its own against cockpits costing nearly twice as much. Of course, the SimLab P1X Pro will perform better under extreme loads. However, for most sim racers, the GT1 Pro will handle anything you can throw at it, be it a 30Nm midge motor or a hydraulic pedal set. So if you're looking for a compact cockpit that you can rely on as you progress through your sim racing career and subsequently upgrade equipment, the SimLab GT1 Pro is one of my top recommendations at this price point. And as you might expect, it's taken over from the GT1 Evo as my daily driver.